Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the next webinar of KNVTS Amsterdam. I'm Lisa. I'm the new secretary of KNVTS Amsterdam, and I will be your host tonight. So, for those who join us for the first time, KNVTS is the Dutch Association of Maritime Engineers. So, our aim is to connect people in the maritime industry and keep them up to date with the latest news and innovation. That's why we arrange these lectures and webinars and events. And you can be up to date with all this, subscribing to our newsletter or following us on social media. And for tonight, just a few things. As you can see, you're all muted and with your camera off, so you can communicate with us through your chat. We'll have about 1 hour, so it will be about 45 minutes for the presentation, and then 15 minutes for the answer for your questions, of course, for the answer of your questions. So in case there are too many answers, we will forward them to a speaker, and she will reply to you through us. The webinar will be recorded and then will be shared on our YouTube channel. I think that's enough about technicalities, and I can introduce our speaker for tonight, Dr. Vienna Eleuteri. She is a sustainability scientist and anthropologist who cooperates with governments and community to promote sustainable development. And she's here tonight to explain to us what is that, and especially to talk about WaterRevolution Foundation. And as many of you may know, the foundation aimed to drive sustainability into the superyacht industry. But let's hear all about that from Vienna herself. So welcome, Vienna.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for inviting me, and thank you to the participants for your interest.
Thank you for sharing with us all your news and ideas. So
thank you, Lisa. Let's start.
Yeah.
Let's start with this journey.
Yeah, we're ready.
Here we are.
Okay.
I'm going to share my screen. And yes, our journey this evening will be about sustainability, a very special kind of sustainability because it's about sustainability within the maritime sector, and specifically our path within and for the superyachting sector. And I hope you will enjoy the presentation. When we say sustainability, we say we intend lots of meanings, and that's why I would like to start by presenting, saying some words about the structure of this presentation. On the very first part, there will be a kind of induction in sustainability, because it has a lot of definition, and most of the time it's a really a very specific, a scientific word, a scientific concept, but at the same time, generally speaking, it's also very vague. So we're trying to focus a bit in which is the real definition of sustainability and what does it mean in our context during our era, the Anthropocene era. Just a very quick induction into these topics. And on the other hand, we will have in the second part how we are trying to integrate sustainability within our action, within our industrial sectors, within our professional skills. And let's start this journey. When we speak about sustainability, we have I put on my screen, you can see different languages speaking about sustainability, defining and using the word sustainability. It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor that has a specific meaning depending on the language we use. And there are, as you can see, probably from the different kind of words, in some languages we have a kind of metaphor related to the mechanical characteristic of any kind of materials that could sustain something. The sustaining capacity, let's say. Other languages, such as the Dutch language, use a different kind of metaphor. It's about time, like in French, durability. But which is the scientific definition of sustainability? Sustainability, as you can read, as you can see on my screen, sustainability is the process of living within the limits of available physical, natural, and social resources in ways that allow the living system in which humans are embedded to thrive in perpetuity. Probably you are much more familiar with another kind of definition. That is the most often quoted definition that comes from the UN World Commission on Environment and Development. That is to say, sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This is a very important step. And why that? Because as soon as we realized that our model of progress, our model of development was facing some specific, very specific problems related to the access to resources such as energy, really crucial raw material, and any kind of this thing for industrial use. We realized that it was very much needed a completely different approach to our economic system, to our way how we do produce and use things. And that is about a very specific challenge we face today, and that link sustainability and the scientific definition of sustainability with development, a new idea of development, the so-called sustainable development. Probably you are familiar with Sustainable Development Goals, the so-called SDGs. Those are part of the 2030 agenda, the agenda for this decade, and it is about changing completely our cultural shifts and our cultural model, and with that, our idea of development, the way we produce things on large scale, and is all integrated in this agenda. And it speaks about how we could, the Sustainable Development Goals agenda, explain us very well in a very good detail how it's possible to meet the need of our generation, the need of our society, by not losing the focus on the next. Let me go directly into a very specific topic. How is integrated the Sustainable Development Goals agenda within our sector, the maritime sector in general? The International Maritime Organization already have been working since the 2010 on a very strategic approach in order to explain how it's possible to link sustainable development goals to the maritime activities, the maritime sector activities. And as you can see from in this quote, the strategic director of IMO in 2015, immediately after the release of the agenda, the publication of the agenda, expressed its commitment to the Agenda 2030 with very specific words, and it was something really shocking at that time at the general level. But what I want to say here is that the Sustainable Development Agenda is not something is not related to our practical approach to our daily work. It's really something embedded, and it will be more and more embedded in our regulatory frameworks. And that's why we have different pressures. On one hand, of course, it's important to understand where we are going, how to be fit for the future as a society, as part of the society, but also as an economic sector, as an economic cluster. On the other hand, it's very important to know how much specific, the kind of pressure we could receive from the regulatory frameworks. And of course, it's much better to set up our own agenda instead of being forced by any kind of external authority or public opinion. And that's why it's so important to understand this agenda and to understand the specific goals, the specific targets we need to reach altogether. And this is quite a challenge, of course, because, as I said, it's about really a completely shift of paradigm. Of course, it's very important to pose this question. Do we want to comply with the regulation, with this kind of challenge, to the regulation coming from this challenge, or do we want to lead the way? Because, as I said, it's always very important to understand what we need and really to understand in a very specific way which are the goals we could really set, what we could achieve, also by understanding and evaluating the cost-benefit ratio. It's a long path. No one needs to left behind, but at the same time, we need to know why and how to embrace this kind of guiding principle within our activities by having something really important to take into consideration, but also to evaluate, to monitor, and to reach. And that's why the work I've been doing as a sustainability scientist within the maritime sector focused on the yachting sector, and specifically the super yachting sector, because it's a very strategic niche that is able really to drive change and to accelerate the shift, and also to share this knowledge with the entire maritime sector in order to approach in a more shared and more practical and also much more effective way sustainable development. Let me tell you something about the model I have been developing during my work within this sector. Coming from an academic research and coming from applied sustainability within industrial sectors and strategic ones, I had the opportunity to realize that when it comes to speak about sustainability, we need to take into consideration two specific pillars. On one hand, we have the need of having a lighter ecological footprint, and to understand, first, to evaluate, to assess, and to monitor the ecological footprint in order to understand how it's possible, which are the solutions we need to embrace in order to really be effective on this side. On the other hand, we need to take into consideration the impact, the so-called anthropogenic impact on a natural ecosystem. For our sector, of course, it's very important to take into consideration the marine ecosystem, our most important stakeholder. And that's why the combination of the two pillars led me to a specific model, able to use a specific field of sustainability that is called computational sustainability, coming from IT research, computer science, statistics, and of course, knowledge coming from our specific sector, able to assess and evaluate and monitor the cost-benefit ratio of our choices. And this model had the recognition by the UN Blue Solution. It was recognized as a blue solution. And that was a very, at the very beginning, the very starting point of a very long path, because this model was part of the development, is really the core, the scientific core knowledge of the upcoming steps coming with within the superyachting sector. First, by sharing this knowledge within the CBAS, the International Association of Superyacht Builders, and then within the CBAS and with specific players within the superyachting industry, this challenge became something more structured, and became the WaterRevolution Foundation, because we recognize the need of sharing more, sharing better, and of course implement and step up our tools, our approach, our knowledge, and also the way we want to disseminate this kind of approach. So the WaterRevolution Foundation today is the very first international and independent organization that really started within the industry, specifically the superyachting industry, and based on a very scientific knowledge, able on one hand to recognize, to assess, to evaluate in a very scientific and very solid scientific knowledge. So assessing the yachting environmental impact, trying to understand the ecological footprint of our industry, and at the same time protect the ocean. Our mission is really to drive sustainability within this sector, but without losing anyone behind, and really wanting to share on a larger scale this knowledge and also our experience. And by doing this, really work for an healthy ocean, a vital ocean, not only for the superyachting industry, of course, because as a very important marine ecologist, Professor Giuseppe Notarbartolo di Sciara uses to say, the way we are going to treat the ocean is not only crucial for our industry or for climate, for many topics probably you are familiar with, but it's really crucial for our planet's well-being. Our agenda, the 2030 agenda, is really something crucial to reach altogether the scale, the level of sustainability we really need to achieve altogether in a very effective way. And that's why WaterRevolution is working at this level and with this kind of passion and knowledge, and really lots of tools able to be shared. Those are just wanted to share our partners, first because I'm really proud about that, but second because it's you can see really a huge range of companies and embracing superyacht industry and as an entire value chain. We have designers, builders, lots of course finance, because it's something very important to take into consideration, especially when it comes to speak about the new European Union regulation regarding financing, embracing completely with the new directive completely the sustainable development goals, but much more than this, really embracing sustainability at the very core as a guiding principle for any kind of ratio related to any kind of investment in industrial clusters. And how we do it? Let's spend some words in explaining how we do it. We really, in a very practical way, how we do work on these topics. Of course, science is the very core of our practice. Knowledge and scientific knowledge, but also embracing best practices within our sector, but also looking at other examples, because the entire economic system is looking at sustainability as I said, as a guiding principle, as a strategic goal to be reached as soon as possible. And it's a process. It's a process we need to share, also looking at best practices in order to do better and to accelerate this path. And of course, at the very core of our mission, there is the specific will to really facilitate the path throughout sustainability and the way how we could really make the difference. I want to give you a brief overview of our activities. And of course, it starts with measuring. And why that? Because as I said, we cannot take care about something we cannot measure. We cannot really understand which is the value about doing something, which is the cost-benefit ratio. And that's why, by using the computational sustainability at the very first step, we were able to develop the yacht assessment tool that is based on a specific methodology called the LCA, the so-called LCA, the life cycle assessment. I will show you in really in some seconds a very short video that can give you a general overview about our work and how the yacht, the so-called yacht, is going to work, and how it's linked to the life cycle assessment and to other very important steps in order to identify operational profile, in order to identify specific benchmark, in order to identify which could be the best way to optimize all the processes and so on. And very important, I would love also to underline the fact that that really it's a shared approach, because by sharing knowledge and by sharing experience, we are really able to fine-tune and to make the most out of the resources we put on our work. The yacht assessment tool is the very starting point. I want to show you a video. Just a second, I'm sorry. I need to go here. Here we are. As I said, it's really a shared approach. I hope it gives you a broader idea of the huge work we are doing within the foundation, and also each step of this kind of achievement is part of a common work, a shared work, able to discuss. We have lots of work tables that are discussing about any kind of technical step. So this is the result, but behind there is a huge work, a shared work within the industry and within the entire supply chain in order to really be representatives of all of the stakeholders and all the steps that needs to be taken. This is a broad idea of the life cycle approach. I'm not going to really into that, just to give you an idea about the complexity of the elements needed and taken into consideration. And of course, if you have any kind of question regarding more specific question and technical question regarding that, feel free to reach out and pose your question. I will do my best to answer it. Another specific aspect related to the work, the technical work related to the ecological footprint, is about the Yacht Environmental Transparency Index, the so-called YETI. Probably some of you are already familiar or have already heard about this. It's really a very, very large work, a very important network, and an industry, really a joint industry project working on the understanding of which could be the benchmark, the constraint system, the operational profile, where we can assess and then rate a super yacht. Having a common ground, having something scientific that is able to really understand which is the leverage, which is the rate of sustainability of green naval technology and innovation on board of a super yacht. And YETI, our first version of YETI, it will be launched in November 2021 at Metz in Amsterdam. I hope you will join us and be part of this common effort, common path. All this work has a specific aim. We are in the process of building, of populating the database of sustainable solutions. That's very important. Otherwise, we have no benchmark, we have no point of reference in order to understand where it's possible to find out a solution that has the credentials of being more sustainable than others. And this is very important also to give a kind of point of reference for the entire industry and also to facilitate the decision making. The yacht assessment tool is part of this path, able to build a common database, an easy to use database where anyone could find out which could be in real time the best solution for its own design or for searching a real naval green technology that is able to really address the sustainable development goals in a proper way. And we are working at this kind of verified solutions. And as I said, it will be based, the evaluation, it will be based on the life cycle assessment. So the most accredited scientific tool methodology able to identify the different value, no, of our impact. Of course, all this kind of work goes hand in hand with educational program. We delivered already different courses. As you can read here, hundred of professionals were trained and successfully trained, and we are working, of course, in adding more and more topics within our courses. At the very beginning, of course, we started with sustainability in practice. As I said already, it's such an important aspect to really embrace and integrate sustainability into strategy. And it's very important to future-proof our business. But organizations right around the world are also realizing that to do so, they should plan for and address potential impacts of global megatrends. Probably you have heard about the IPCC report recently published that says that we are really, the economy needs to really step up its effort in order to address a sustainable development, in order to really address climate crisis, ecological crisis. And it's very important to really be it's really important to integrate sustainability in a I would say in a tailored way within our organization. And it's also very important that really the mega trends will not affect the healthy state of the ocean, of course, but at the same time also of the economy, because we always need to remember that sustainability is the balance between the environment, equity, and economy. All the parameters needs to go hand in hand, and that is quite a challenge. So a very good training, a very good insight about sustainability, it's really the most important step in order to understand what we are doing, why we are doing something, and doing this in a very effective way. But as I said at the very beginning, we cannot talk only about ecological footprint. Ecological footprint, it's crucial. We need to understand how to be more proactive in getting a lighter ecological footprint. Innovation today is about being more sustainable, is about delivering sustainable solution in any kind of industry. But if we do not if we don't take care about our major stakeholder, the ocean, we are not going to really solve the problem, to address this problem within the complex framework that needs to be taken into consideration. And that's why we also work on that side, on the Ocean Conservation Program. What is very important to understand, speaking about ocean conservation, that we need to take this path, the ocean conservation pillar, looking at this from an industrial point of view. It's not enough to be to embrace some philanthropic initiatives, because it's important to really link the ocean protection to a different model of economy. Today, this kind of economy is called regenerative economy. And what does it mean? It means that on one hand, we are going to use less resources to do better, to do more. But on the other hand, we need to take into consideration the time, the capacity by the natural ecosystem, the capacity that the natural ecosystem have to regenerate their resources. And what we are doing here is to speak about blue carbon. And why that? Because blue carbon, it's a key concept for an healthy ocean. And if, as an industrial cluster, we are able to, on one hand, to get a lighter ecological footprint, and on the other hand, investing financial resources in specific projects able to multiplicate the effect of our efforts, that will be key to a real solution. This is the real economic, cultural, and systemic shift we really need to achieve. And here we are at the very specific goal. Our most important goal, I will say, as an industry, is the 14th, the life below water. And it says that we need to conserve and sustainably use the ocean, seas, and marine environment in general for sustainable development. So also within the 14th goal, there is the two pillars are mentioned. On one hand, we need to sustainable use, but on the other hand, we need to conserve. And this is the blue economy call to action. This is the blue economy revolution. And also there is a scientific solution to that, a scientific answer about how we could really, in a very effective way, do something worthwhile for the ocean. When we speak about the ocean, and specifically ocean conservation, we speak about the blue carbon revolution at WaterRevolution Foundation. And I will show you really a couple of minutes video able to explain much better than me because of course of the language, much better than me could explain what we think about ocean conservation, why the blue carbon revolution is so much needed, and why this revolution is strictly linked to the Sustainable Development Goals agenda and the sustainable path we need to take altogether. Recently, we, to be honest, it was on the 8th of June, during the UN World Ocean Day, we launched our very first ocean conservation program. That is the important marine mammals area. That's a fundamental question to all of us. No? What is the ocean worth for us? And for, the ocean is defined from the scientific point of view as the life supporting system. So it's really work for all of us. And I really hope we are going to drive this revolution all together. I hope I was able to deliver the key topics, and feel free, of course, to reach out and to ask for more. Thank you so much for your attention, and thank you so much to the KNVTS organization for inviting me and speaking about the WaterRevolution Foundation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vienna, for sharing all of this with us. It was very interesting for me personally, and I think for the audience also. And actually, I have some question for you, if you don't mind.
Please.
Okay. So I have the first question from Gus. He asked, what would you consider the most important parameters in the ecological footprint?
The most important parameter, yeah, this is a very interesting one. Of course, every one of us is very much familiar with the CO2, the carbon footprint. That's absolutely important because of its crucial role in the ecological crisis and in climate crisis. But let me underline that focusing on just one parameter could be very dangerous, because we lose focus on the ecological footprint as a whole. This is really, really important. Let me give you just one example. The CO2 emissions, of course, are crucial to understand, in order to really run a low carbon emission economy. That's absolutely on top of the international agenda. But also, water scarcity index is something we need to take very seriously into consideration. The water crisis all around the world, it's really increasing. Today, the wars we fight is about water. It's not anymore about anything else. So I just want to underline that it's very important to take into consideration the ecological footprint as a key concept in order to understand which is the anthropogenic impact on natural ecosystem.
Okay, thank you. And some more. That's from Eric. Does the principle of sharing knowledge amongst your partners not conflict with the competitive nature of their market? I mean, are the mega yacht builders open to share their developments?
Thank you for this. Is a very important question, because it's about really shifting the cultural model also from this point of view. Of course, market is competitive, and the nature is this one. So this is the ecological niche, I will say, for business, and that's crucial. But there are some specific topics we need to fight all together. And the international agenda, the Sustainable Development Agenda, needs really all of us making this change happen. And that's why the WaterRevolution Foundation, it's a kind of independent platform, really delivering science and being also the platform where any kind of interest could meet a common goal. And yes, it was not that easy at the very beginning, of course. It's also part of our path, but we are working really well together. And of course, market is the market, but this is science, and this is the agenda we need to cover all together. Let me underline also the fact that doing this effort all together pay off much better, because otherwise this change at the scale we need to do this, it will cost a lot. But sharing knowledge, it's much more effective also from the from an economic point of view, from the optimization point of view.
Thank you. That's something that came from me actually. Is there interest from customers in the WaterRevolution Foundation? Are owners and are they asking for greener yachts? Are they interested in the production footprint of their yacht?
The problem here is the tool we use in order to get visible something that otherwise is not that really easy to show. No, I'll make. For me, it was very important, and for us within the WaterRevolution Foundation, is still very important to show which is the cost-benefit ratio of the choices. And when you are able to show this kind of results to a yacht owner, for sure, he is very much interested in that. I would add to that there is an increasing interest also from the yacht owner's point of view because of the new directive I'm just speaking, of course, in general, there is an increasing interest in sustainability topics. And of course, a super yacht owner, of course, he already used to buy probably a Tesla or to having more sustainable luxury things because it's part of the mega trends today in general. Yep. But also speaking about the regulation, it will increase very much because now there is a very specific taxonomy by the European Union regulating investment, and there are really specific indications in investing in something that is sustainable. And this is not only from the private point of view, but also banks. Also moving investment from one product to another, it's very important to understand how much this investment addresses the topic of sustainability. So it's really a very interesting and a very accelerating, I will say, megatrend.
It's becoming part of the value of the yacht itself, I guess.
Absolutely. And probably you could also refer to the fact that when we speak about innovation, it's all about sustainable solution, of course. And especially in the super yacht, each yacht owner wants the best and most innovative yachts ever. So it's in this case, the competitiveness is there.
It's good. It's a good thing.
Good. It's very good.
Okay, I have another question from our attendees. That's Marius. Do you take your own impact into account as WaterRevolution Foundation?
Absolutely, yes.
Are there hidden costs that adds to the normal, let's say, cost of building a super yacht? And I don't know, you speak about the design process and people that works on the project from your side or from other side there to certify things. Is that taken into account?
Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. And I can answer this question as by saying that it's really important for individually. There is a real commitment to that as yacht builders, as designers too, but also as a company. Each of them are really working hard in embracing and first of all, taking also our courses. So it's the very first step they take.
That's important.
That's very important, of course. And but yeah, besides joke, of course, yes, it's very much important to take into account and to practice, of course. Also because from this practice comes lots of knowledge, and we share within the foundation this kind of knowledge, this kind of experience in order to do better and to share more. So it's, knowledge, scientific knowledge specifically, it's something that the more you share, the more you get.
More you have. Yeah, exactly. And I have a very specific question from Raffaele about transportation of yachts. Do you take into account how they are transported on board of other ship and it's this impact on their life cycle?
We need to take into consideration any single steps. Of course, you cannot start from zero to everything, of course. It's a step-by-step approach. But when we evaluate the life cycle of an entire yacht, we need to take into consideration also this kind of very specific steps. Absolutely, yes. I would like to underline also in order to explain a bit better how this is linked to the ocean conservation, to the regenerative step we encourage to take, is that when you look at the ecological footprint only from the point of view of costs, economic costs, or raw material costs, resources in general cost, of course, it's an approach that speaks about the hidden cost of what we do. But if you link to a proactive approach by understanding and by also investing in a natural ecosystem, in marine ecosystem, that's a very important step in order to put a kind of financial multiplicator.
Yeah.
And that's such an important revolution. And we are going to publish also a lot on that in the near future, because of course we have in place this very first project and lots of achievement regarding the ecological footprint, the assessment of the ecological footprint aspect. So we can deliver real numbers of that. I'm more than happy to share as soon as possible also this aspect of the work of the foundation.
Yeah. Will be very interesting. And I have one last question before closing our webinar, and that's again from Eric. So you stated that the yacht industry has a strong position to drive the sustainable development because of its affluent of clients. Do you aim to transfer this knowledge to the broader shipbuilding industry?
Yes, absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. I need to underline that the super yachting sector is a strategic niche for many other reasons, including investment, of course. And of course, I do not want to keep too long to answer this question, of course. But I know we are now in the right time frame, and I do not want to go too long. But in any case,
Few
yes,
minutes
it's
more is not a problem.
okay. Thank you. And so it's of course in a very strategic position for many reasons. But yes, the aim of the foundation and of course it's part of the sustainability mission, I will say, of the Agenda 2030, to share knowledge and to be able to give example, able to facilitate and to scale also the effort we could do all together. Yes, so we are completely open to share and to discuss and to do more all together. This is a revolution that really asks to all of us to take this part to make the difference.
Yeah. I think all the maritime industry will soon join because the importance of this revolution is clear to anyone by now. And yeah, I think we are, as you said, running out of time. So we would like to thank you, but not only with words. We would like to offer you 1 year of free membership of KNVTS Amsterdam so that you can keep in touch with us and have a look at what we do. And
that's a great surprise, Lisa. Thank you so much, really. Double.
thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us and for being here. As usually, if you want to keep in touch with us, you can follow us on social media and subscribe to our newsletter. Or to be a real part of KNVTS, you can become a member through our website, knvts.nl. And thank you again, Vienna, for this very interesting presentation. And see you soon.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much to all the team and to all the participants, of course. And I hope to see you soon in person. You all, of course.
Big thanks to Ruben, who's helping us with the technical part and has been our support for tonight. Thank you, Ruben.
Sure. Thank you so much, and have a very nice evening to you all.
You all.
Thank you
Bye,
very much.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Ruben.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.